High in the Bavarian Alps, surrounded by dense forests and wrapped in mountain mist, stands a castle that looks like it was built inside a dream. Its white towers rise like frozen clouds against the blue sky, its turrets reaching toward heaven itself. This is Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany's most famous castle, and one of the most breathtaking creations ever made by a single man's imagination. But this isn't just a story about architecture. It's a story about art, obsession, loneliness, and mystery. The story of a king who tried to build his own paradise and lost himself along the way. And before we start, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll get our videos as soon as they're released. Let's start with the setting. Neuschwanstein rises above the little Bavarian village of Hohenschwangau near the Austrian border. From its balconies, you can see the turquoise Alpsee Lake, the rugged Amur Mountains, and, on a clear day, the snow-capped peaks of Tyrol. It's the kind of landscape that looks painted, and that's exactly what King Ludwig II of Bavaria wanted, a living fairy tale. Ludwig II was born in 1845 into one of Europe's oldest royal families. As a child, he grew up in nearby Hohenschwangau Castle, surrounded by murals depicting medieval legends of knights, saints, and swans. He loved poetry, theater, and above all, music. At the age of 18, he became king, shy and idealistic, more interested in beauty than in politics. He once said, "I want to live in a world that never was and never will be." So, he decided to build that world himself. Ludwig was completely fascinated by Richard Wagner, the composer of grand romantic operas like Lohengrin, Tannhäuser, and Parsifal. Wagner's heroes, noble knights, tragic lovers, divine quests, became Ludwig's personal mythology. He saw himself as Lohengrin, the Swan Knight, a misunderstood hero from another world. That symbol, the swan, became the heart of his identity. You'll find it everywhere in Neuschwanstein, carved into walls, embroidered on fabrics, even built into faucets and furniture. Wagner called Ludwig his angel of music, and it was Ludwig's money that allowed Wagner to complete his greatest works. But while Wagner's fame grew, Ludwig's grip on reality began to fade. In 1868, Ludwig wrote to Wagner describing his dream. He wrote, "I intend to rebuild the old castle of Hohenschwangau in the authentic style of the old German knights' castles and dedicate it to you, my sacred friend Lohengrin." The first stone was laid on September 5, 1869. The project began immediately and would continue for nearly 2 decades. The first architect, Eduard Riedel, designed a romantic fortress inspired by Wartburg Castle in central Germany, but Ludwig constantly changed the plans. Towers grew taller, halls became more extravagant, and the interior themes turned downright theatrical. After Riedel came Georg von Dolman, then Julius Hofmann, as Ludwig's visions grew increasingly fantastical. Stage designer Christian Junk, who had worked on Wagner's operas, created dramatic concept drawings, turning myth into blueprints. Neuschwanstein, in truth, was never meant to be a real fortress. It was a stage set made of stone. The location itself was almost impossible. The castle sits on a rugged cliff nearly 2,000 feet above sea level, overlooking a deep gorge. More than 300 workers labored on the site, hauling materials by oxen and using steam-powered cranes, cutting-edge technology for the 1870s. At its peak, over 500 men worked there day and night. To speed construction, Ludwig ordered electric floodlights to illuminate the site after dark, unheard of at the time. Although it looks medieval, The castle's core is surprisingly modern. Brick walls clad in limestone, central heating, flushing toilets, running water, even telephone lines and electric bell systems. By 1884, Ludwig finally moved into a few finished rooms, though the castle was far from complete. Let's go inside. The throne hall is a masterpiece of grandeur, designed like a Byzantine church with marble columns, golden mosaics, and a giant dome painted with stars. Oddly enough, the throne itself was never installed. The Singers' Hall stretches nearly 90 feet, its walls covered with murals of heroic legends. Ludwig intended to host Wagnerian performances there, yet not a single concert ever took place during his lifetime. His bedroom took 4 years to carve. The Gothic canopy over his bed is an explosion of intricate woodwork, more like a cathedral than a sleeping space. The wash basin? A swan's neck pouring water from its beak. Imagine living in a castle with your own built-in fantasy cave. Ludwig had spent a fortune, over 14 million marks, worth hundreds of millions of dollars today. He borrowed from banks, mortgaged property, and ignored every warning from his ministers. When his government tried to stop him, Ludwig simply said, "I will build as long as I live. The rest is not my concern." Eventually, his ministers decided he was mentally unfit to rule. In June 1886, they declared him insane without ever examining him in person. A medical commission, led by Dr. Bernhard Gudden, was sent to Neuschwanstein to arrest him. Ludwig reportedly shouted, "How dare you declare me insane? I will prove you are the mad ones." He was taken to Burg Castle near Munich. 2 days later, on June 13, 1886, both Ludwig and Dr. Gudden were found dead in the shallow waters of Lake Starnberg. The official cause? Suicide by drowning. But the autopsy found no water in his lungs. Some witnesses claimed he'd been shot. Others said it was murder. To this day, no one knows what really happened. Barely 7 weeks after Ludwig's mysterious death, Neuschwanstein was open to the public, an act that would have horrified him. Yet the ticket sales helped pay off his enormous debts. Today, more than 1.4 million visitors come each year, and during summer, over 6,000 people tour the castle every day. Photography inside is banned, both to protect the artwork and to preserve the castle's magic. In winter, when snow covers the Alps, Neuschwanstein looks like something out of a snow globe, unreal, delicate, and timeless. During World War II, the Nazis used Neuschwanstein as a storage depot for stolen art, especially from France. It became part of the Einsatzstab Reichsleiter Rosenberg, the Nazi art theft organization. When Allied forces arrived in 1945, they discovered thousands of stolen paintings, sculptures, and manuscripts hidden inside. Thanks to a few brave officers, Neuschwanstein was spared from destruction and became a symbol of cultural survival. Neuschwanstein has been under constant restoration ever since. Its limestone facade, murals, and foundations have required ongoing work for more than a century. Modern digital scanning now helps preserve every fresco and carving. In 2023, Neuschwanstein and Ludwig's other palaces were officially added to the UNESCO World Heritage List, recognized as masterpieces of 19th century Romanticism, a blend of architecture, music, and myth like no other. Let's lighten the mood with some wild and true facts. Ludwig demanded absolute silence from his servants. They were forbidden to speak to him and had to deliver meals through hidden doors and secret hatches. He often dined alone but set the table for two, holding imaginary conversations with Wagner or legendary knights. His bed canopy contains 108 hand-carved finials, each representing a Bavarian saint. There's even a secret passageway leading from his bedroom to the chapel area, though he rarely attended religious services. He once planned an even larger castle, Falkenstein, on a higher mountain. The design looked something straight out of a fantasy novel. He died before construction began. Psychiatrists today believe Ludwig likely suffered from social anxiety and depression, not insanity. And in a delicious twist of irony, the king's mad creation now earns Bavaria hundreds of millions in tourism revenue every year.
Neuschwanstein inspired Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle, which later became the iconic symbol of Disneyland and Disney movies. Its silhouette has appeared in films, video games, and even corporate logos. To millions, it represents the idea of a perfect fairy tale castle. And it all began with one lonely king's dream. If you want to see it for yourself, you can take a train from Munich to Fussen, then a shuttle or horse-drawn carriage to the castle gates. The best view is from Marienbrücke, or Mary's Bridge, which spans the gorge opposite the castle. At sunrise, the limestone glows gold. At sunset, it turns soft pink and violet. It's pure magic. Tours inside last about 30 minutes, and tickets often sell out days ahead, so plan early. So what does Neuschwanstein really represent? It's more than just stone and mortar. It's the dream of a man who rejected the ordinary and chased the impossible. A king who built beauty as a shield against reality. Ludwig II's own words capture it perfectly. The world cannot understand me, and I am content with that. Today, millions stand on Marienbrücke, gazing at those white towers rising through the clouds. And in that moment, we all understand a little of Ludwig's dream, that longing to live in a world made of art, music, and magic. Because sometimes, the line between madness and genius is as thin as a dream. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history and legend, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments which castle you'd like me to explore next.